LinkedIn. I can't see it right now, but if we are, hello everybody on LinkedIn and Facebook and everybody out there in Matt Chat Live Land. It is Wednesday, and it is our new time slot. Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 2 p.m. Pacific. And for all of our friends in Australia, good morning. It's Thursday. We're speaking to you in the future. Right? We're like so good. We broadcast to the future. I love it. 9 o'clock in the morning in Australia. So happy to see y'all. That's right. My friend Elio in the background playing some awesome tunes. I'm going to do a lot of switching. We have some neat things. Hopefully all going to work on today's episode. We got some fun things for you. Some great guests. Joanna Vargas. My friend Brian Schulman's here as well. We're going to talk about some stuff that is mind-blowing. Like, we just had a great time for the past 30 minutes trying to get this show to go today. And Brian Schulman's got a show Saturday with 150 people. Yeah, 150. Not like 150 people one time going, voice your vibe, yay, LinkedIn Live. No, it's like 150 people at a time. I mean, come on. He's insane. 4 hours, he's going to try to knock that out in 4 hours. I think he'll be on for like 3 days, but whatever. I mean, he's that kind of a guy. He can make it happen. He'll probably have some kind of filter thing going on. He'll be Superman or Spider-Man or LinkedIn man. He's just the man. That's what I'm talking about. So welcome to Matt Chat Live. So excited to have you here today. And man, I can't wait even for tonight, right? We got our chance on Clubhouse where, you know what we do? We get naked up on Clubhouse. Yeah, it's called Let's Get Naked. It is an all-audio platform. Don't go there, y'all. It ain't that bad, right? It's not that bad. Last thing you want to see is, you won't see that. So here's the deal. It's a place where you get to do, here's the thing. I won't tell you about all that, but I want Elio to share just a second with you some things about Let's Get Naked. So here's Wisdom Wednesday, Let's Get Naked. Take it away.
What's up? I got my MTV shirt on, and I'm excited to journal with you on this beautiful love day. What can you love today? What things can you love? What people can you love?
On the calendar, I love white space. I love having a Saturday where I'm done when I'm teaching at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., and I have the rest of the day to do whatever I wish. If I feel like sitting on the couch, if I feel like working on the computer all day, if I feel like going for a walk, if I feel like going to a friend's house, whatever it is, it's my choice that day, and I'm not dictated by my calendar.
Welcome, girls, to the Get Up Girl podcast, where we are making you live your fullest and fun life. My name is Joanna Vargas, and every week I will pour into you with my stories, tools, and fun radical candor. I believe that when you ask better questions, up-level your habits, and get freaking real, you will have a happier life. If you're looking for more fun, more magic, and more joy, you're my girl. This one's for you. Girl. Are you ready? Let's create your dream life.
Wow.
I want my dream life. Yeah, look at that. There she is. Miss Joanna Vargas is here with us today. I'm so glad. Hey, we got a little video thing going on right now, but it's all right. We got Joanna on the show now. I'm super excited. You're more important than What Gets Naked right now. We'll go back to that later. I want to know about you, girl. Like, you said, you're my girl.
You're right? My girl. You got to say it like that with like
you're my girl. Like it's G-U-R-L-L-L. You're my girl.
Did Elio make that? Because that was badass.
Elio is awesome, isn't he?
Yes.
He's so good. He's so. I love it. I love it.
Just follow me around and take videos of me all day. I like that.
We'll send you that video. You can have that video for later. I hope you dig it a lot. Sweet. So I'm so glad to have you here, Joanna. We had a great chance to hook up and meet on Clubhouse. I think it was Clubhouse we met, right? Was it Clubhouse or somewhere else?
We were talking, Matt. We had like a little intro call.
We did have a little thing going on, a little talk.
We got to do Clubhouse too. We'll do that.
That's right. We just social people, and we socially engaged, and I'm so glad I did because, man, Joanna, you're an incredible person, and you've been able to do so many freaking incredible things over the years. Matter of fact, you said freaking, so I know that you're definitely from the 80s because I say freaking all the time. So you say freaking. I think you said freaking in the intro I just had, right? Yeah, it was great. I love it.
That's my word.
It's your word. It's my word. It's our word, girl.
Our word. I'm bringing it back.
You bring it back. We bring it freaking back. I think when Brian comes on, you'll find out about freaking a little bit. He can do some freaking dancing. Now, talk about dancing, like that whole thing with Brian when he come up a little bit, right? He's got this whole socially socially dancing things, a socially distanced thing. And Joanna, you're like a straight up dancer. Like you've been dancing for a long time. You actually have your own studio, right? So, I mean, obviously you're 25 years old right now. So I don't know how it's possible for you to start back when you did.
I started when I was 3, my business.
I know. She was some else at 3 years old. Let me tell you what. She's an incredible gal. So why don't you just give us a chance for folks to meet Joanna a bit? Start with us a little bit back from some of those times when you were growing up. Because sometimes, you know, one of the questions you and I talked about off screen before the shows were, you know, who is Joanna? What did you do? Do you always want to just be this social gal? Are you a physical fitness person? Are you a dancer? I mean, what is all that stuff, right? So when you were a kid, you didn't grow up and say, I want to be a person who does podcasts and on-air personality and do physical fitness stuff the rest of my life. That wasn't you, right? It started off completely different. So tell us a bit about that story, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, I did grow up. I wanted to be J-Lo before she was J-Lo. Back in the 90s, I straight up wanted to be Selena and Jennifer Lopez, and that was my goal. But going back to when I was a little girl, shout out to all the kids out there that think that that they don't fit in, that they're just weird. That was me. But back in the 80s, you know, it wasn't as cool as it is now to be an entrepreneur. So I was really that girl that was so different and did not fit in. And so I went to college, went to UC Santa Barbara. Shout out to Santa Barbara, but I hated it. I hated college. I just cried every
Shout out to the school that I hated.
Everybody there that I hated. But it's the shout out to all the people that were trying to mimic and be like everybody else and fit in to a world where they just did not. They were the visionaries, and that's who I was. I was a visionary trying to be like everybody else. So I did college for 2 quarters, and I cried every day and begged my mom and go, I'm out of here. And I picked up everything. I picked up my dorm, and I moved out early. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Like, you got into a UC, you're leaving? And I'm like, I'm out of here. This was in 95. And my mom said, if you leave, I'm going to cut you off. Like, you're on your own now. And it was the greatest gift that I ever got. And from there, you know, I got a dance agent. I was auditioning and realized, Matt, that I hated Hollywood. Like, I'm like, this is not for me. I'm a teacher. I'm the visionary. I'm not here to do auditions. It just wasn't me. Not that it's right or wrong, right? It just wasn't for me. So I love, Matt, when, you know, I go to a buffet in life, meaning like try everything. I had so many jobs, so many things, and I discovered that I love to teach dance. So a couple of years later, after that, I opened up my dance studio without 1 hour of business training. I had nothing but just life skills. Like I call it.
So you were a dancer, passionate about dancing. You're ready to do your thing. But hindsight, you didn't have the creds to just go ahead and do all the, like, your books and your marketing plan and your taxes and right.
I didn't even know what P&L meant. You know what I mean? I don't even know what that stood for, like that, learning all that kind of stuff. But I knew street smarts, Matt. It was like I call myself the Jay-Z of dance. Like I just figured it out, but I knew how to hustle and I knew how to get people places. But it was all the infrastructure that learned how to do that. So that's a little bit about me from there.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're doing this dance thing. You realize, how old were you when you made the decision to say, I'm not doing this. I'm willing to give up. I'm willing to give up my support from mom and getting through this college thing. I want to do my own thing. How old was that?
I just turned 18.
18?
Mm-hmm.
19?
Just turned. So I went to school when I was 17. I was a young freshman in college and then just turned 18. That was such a gift because I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet early on.
Yeah, that's something else too. So you had the dance studio for 10 years that, if I recall correctly, it was about a 10-year ride. So what started happening in your life in that 10-year period? In your passion of doing dance, you loved to dance, you loved to work with all the people that you were working with, but then it started coming to a close, right? And this is pre-COVID. So what was going on that caused this close down?
Matt, great question. I worked 365 days a year. And I know that's so cliche, but I did. Literally, Christmas, it didn't matter. I slept there. I was there every single day. And I was burning the candle at both ends. And I made myself so sick, so ill. And I had bronchitis for a year. I mean, I was like walking pneumonia. I was just so stressed out. And I sold it to somebody and literally walked in, told my staff within 30 seconds. And I said, I've sold the business to this guy, buy him out. And
that must have been a fun day.
It was fun, but then also not so kind to my staff.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been rough.
It was very rough. And now looking like, dang, I'm so apologetic. But I was so to the end that I had no way out. And that was the only way that I knew how to do it at that moment. And I was, in my early 30s, and I was still developing. I had never really been, it was always like a business owner. I had no like breathing time. So I used that time after I sold it to just breathe for like 1 year. And I did a lot of self-development in that year.
That's amazing. So the 1 year's up, 10 years has passed, and you moved to the next level. What was that?
The next thing, I knew I was going to open a new brick and mortar business. And I really wanted to be easy, not easy, easeful. Very simple. So I opened up a fitness studio. And in between there, I was also doing other side businesses, side gigs, and things of that nature. But I knew that I didn't want the stress. Everything was on an app. There was no front desk. And so I didn't have to be there, and the business can run itself. And so that I opened up a fitness studio, and I had that for 8 years and just closed it recently, due to the pandemic and a few, other things. I was just ready. I was done with that.
Yeah. Which is amazing. So you got a lot of experience during those periods of time. So let's back up to the little girl who's going through high school, doing her thing. She's a dancer, having a blast, right? And then she goes to the school and says, "I'm done. I want to do this." So you've been through several different phases in your life, and obviously you're not 25 anymore, but through those periods of time and the years and experiences of things you've been able to acquire in your life to where you're at now, and you've done some things now where you're launching a lot of things that you do on Instagram, you're getting active on Clubhouse, you're speaking to a lot of people, and you're working still in the physical area. You're doing physical fitness stuff and training with what you do through your Instagram profile, right, that I've seen before. And you do stuff LinkedIn, other places as well. So what's that look for you? What's that look like now for you in your life with all the things you've been through, all the changes that you've made? Because obviously with COVID and things have happened in 2020 in people's lives, there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of directional things that have had to move in people's lives. A lot of places where they've had to say, I guess I'm just going to give up, right? But the entrepreneur in you, in Joanna, and most people that are going through these types of things in life, there is not the end. There may be a spot. You had a 1 year break, right? I've done that myself for 1 year too. I did a thing. It was a 1 year. I couldn't last past a year because I was about to pop. I just could have had to do something, right? So then what's that now for you, Joanna? What's this next whatever phase that could be till the cows come home or 3 years from now? Who knows? But I mean, what's that look like for you?
So good. What a gift that the pandemic was for me, because I needed something to like knock it down. I needed everything to just be knocked down to the ground for me to restart. And I've had so many restarts. I'd probably say 3 or 4, right? But this one was completely different. And the biggest difference, Matt, is that I've never grown my own brand. I've always hid behind businesses. I could build a business. I've built a music festival, a 5K run, thousands and thousands of people. I'm really good at that, yet I hide. And I can walk in my own business when people don't know that I'm the owner. And I liked that. I liked being able to do this in case I got, a not so kind Yelp review. And here's the difference now. It scared the living like crap out of me to create my own brand. And I was marinating and just paralyzed to start my podcast. My podcast, I was going to start in 2016. It took me the pandemic because that's how fearful I was to put my face out there. And I'm like, I don't have fear. I've built so many businesses, girl. But what I realized and what was forefront for me was that it was me being the face. And I did some clearing. I had to really move through that and really, I guess, admit that I was fearful to put my face out there and to build me, to be the brand and to tell my stories, Matt. Like, are you going to tell your stories, Joanna, and get real raw and get real? So every year, Matt, I choose a word. I got my intent bracelet. And last year, my word was real. And this was before COVID. And my number one thing was, I'm going to tell my stories. And I started telling my stories, and I started going live and just telling my stories. And I needed to build that muscle to really crack open. And it's taken me about 1.5 years to crack open for real. And the DMs I get, people are like, oh my gosh, the stuff that you share. And I'm like, this is barely scratching the surface. But I was hiding, Matt, for many, many, many years.
gosh, I tell you what, Joanna, that resonates with so many people. And I want to come back in just a second. Elio, if we can pull up that Wisdom Wednesday segment on Let's Get Naked, because this segues right into our show that we're doing tonight. And then I want to bring Brian in here. He and Nancy have been so graciously waiting in the green room, in the Zoom room, waiting for us to zoom them up in here. But we'll do that in a second. So, Joanna, we'll come right back to you. And then in just a moment, we'll come right back after this thing about naked. Let's get naked.
Isn't that the show for Ryan right now?
No, that's the one. That's the Wisdom Wednesday file that says "Let's Get Naked." That's the commercial for Let's Get Naked. We're live, folks.
Yes, that's what happened backstage. Okay,
Yeah, man.
we don't have that right now, but we can share the Ryan celebration.
It's in the folder for today, bro. That's all right. We'll skip it. Maybe you'll find it later while we're talking. It's the one we looked at earlier today. So let's do this. We'll just segue right into bringing Brian in. We'll come back to that video in a second. But before Brian comes in, pull up his graphic for me, Elio, so we can show folks what's coming up for this Saturday. And really what happened today is a chance for folks to celebrate. Can you imagine this? It's 150 episodes, right, Brian? We're going to find out in a second, on Saturdays, right? So it's not 150 shows, right? It's 150 Saturdays. I think that's what it is. Yeah, okay, I see him off screen. It's 150 Saturdays, y'all. We're not talking about like it's 150th show. 150 Saturdays. That's a lot of freaking Saturdays. That's a lot of Saturdays. So, yeah. So coming up March 13th, 9 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, which is a little bit of time for us to sleep in here on the East Coast, which is much nicer. Thank you, Brian, for that. That gives us maybe like 9, 10, 11. It's 12 o'clock here in noontime, lunchtime in the East Coast. So let's bring to the screen Brian Schulman, my buddy Brian, if we can pull him up, and we'll say hello. There he is. What's up, Brian?
Yeah, what's going on, brother? It's great to see your face.
Man, it's good to see you, too.
Hello, Joanna. I love Joanna's story. I'm so glad that she is coming out from behind the lens and finding her voice and voicing her vibe. It's awesome.
Yeah, man. Talk about coming from behind the lens, Mr. LinkedIn lens right there. You got something going on there. So, Brian, man, tell us a little bit about what's happening this weekend. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's super exciting, man. It is actually a really exciting week, by the way, because today was actually episode 150. That's 150 weeks of What's Good Wednesday live on LinkedIn, and the same thing for Shout Out Saturday. And I picked Saturday because we will have 4 hours on Saturday to do this. 4 hours is the amount of time you can go live on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn every day for the last 17 years, and one of the pioneers of LinkedIn Live. And I just, last weekend after episode 149, I had this crazy idea, and I told my producer, Tim, who's unable to join us today because he's on another show. I said, I've got a wacky idea. What if we got 150 guests in 4 hours on the show? It's never been done before. I don't even know if it's been done at all. It's never been done on LinkedIn, that's for sure. And it is a feat in itself. If you can imagine just the coordination in the back end alone that we've been doing in the last, I can't keep track, 4 days or what have you. It's incredible. And the outpouring of people that are like, I'm so humbled, I'm so honored, I can't wait to be there. You know, we're literally making history. We're going to break the internet. It's going to be amazing. We've got lots of incredible surprises. And yeah, it's just...
All right, so Brian, give us a sneak peek real quick. What's one little tidbit of juicy thing you can give out that's going to happen on Saturday?
Yeah, well, again, you'll probably see some awesome different kinds of fun filters happening on the show, but you're going to be hearing from people about who they want to share love and gratitude for in their lives this last week that have made a positive impact. You're going to hear about favorite TV, favorite cartoons growing up as a kid, favorite cereal growing up as a kid. We bring Saturday morning cartoons back on this show. So
I love it.
anyone that grew up in the 80s and you loved waking up in the morning and seeing your Saturday morning cartoons, well, yeah, you can pretty much figure that if you show up, you're going to see some different kinds of fun happening with Saturday morning cartoons of all different kinds of filters and funness. You just never know what might happen. But I will tell you this, you're not going to want to miss it. We're going to have a blast.
Dude, that was very appealing right there. I'm telling you right now.
Wait, and then the cartoons would go into Soul Train. Who remembers
girl,
that?
Soul Train. Yeah, girl, I remember that. Soul Train. could never dance like that. I'm just telling you right now. I was never that good. I tried. In my mind, I looked that good, but it didn't happen. Joanna, what was your favorite cartoon back in that period of time?
I loved Ninja Turtles and I loved Smurfs. Love those
Smurfs.
shows. Yeah, I would watch them before I went to school too in the morning, 7 a.m.
What did you like the most, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I had so many cartoons that I watched because I was really into cartoons. But I definitely watched the Smurfs. I was a huge fan of the Smurfs, and I loved Scooby Doo and. Oh man, I had so many. So we bring a lot of those filters out during the show. We have a good time.
Oh, that was really good. Look at him, Mr. Smurf. He's so good. Well, there's somebody else with you there. Oh, there's somebody else with you there here too, Brian. Who you got with you? It's Nancy, I think, is with you, right? Nancy, can you say hi to everybody?
Hey everyone. Yep, I'm here with them, as always.
Awesome, Nancy.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you. What's going on with Nancy?
What's going on with Nancy? In my 9 to 5 as a speech language pathologist, but on LinkedIn, similar to Joanna, I've been telling my story. So I've been out there, on as many shows as I can, and the shows that I am a co-host on, letting people know that it's okay to be all of you, that we need to talk about these difficult topics and that taboo won't do, and that we need to start changing the narrative on so many things. And in doing that, we have to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable, because that's where change happens, that's where the growth happens. And so, yeah, I've been out there, I have a significant history of childhood trauma. I had an eating disorder. I dropped out of college. Major depression throughout my life, major depressive episodes, divorced eventually, just, life happened. Happened. And
Nancy, I'm just thinking a minute ago that Joanna brought up the fact that she was it took her like 4 years to get to the point where she could actually show her face and do the podcast that she's got on right now, this fear that she had, right? So, I mean, can y'all chit chat back and forth about that? Because I'm thinking with the show that I do called Let's Get Naked, it's a place where we have a chance for folks that are in the social media world like us that live doing stuff, our content, people we talk to, things we do during a period of day. But then there's this imposter syndrome, fear, doubt, insufficiency. There's this manipulation side versus influencer side. There's all these things that we have to go through. For example, it could be like maybe I do a show here, I'm doing okay, I think it was great, but then I look and see Brian. Well, how come Brian just had 10,000 views? I just did the same work Brian did, and I got 300 people. That's not fair. What's up? I'm just as good as Brian, right? You get this kind of stuff that happens behind the scenes that most people don't want to talk about. And that's what we talk about at Let's Get Naked. But backing up to what this conversation was, Joanna and Nancy, can you kind of press into that a little bit, especially from the female perspective? Because I know specifically, Joanna, that's one of your major work fields is with women, right? So you both brought up something powerful. If you can just elaborate on that a little bit, I'd love it.
Yeah, Nancy, you and I are like twins. I think we had the same life. Yeah, so similar.
We definitely need to connect and talk outside of this show, please.
Yeah, very similar. I was just having a conversation with some other girlfriends, and I literally, up 40-something plus years, I thought that everybody wanted to die. I thought that everybody wanted to commit suicide until I'm talking to more women, and they're like, I've never thought of that. I'm like, you've never thought of dying? I thought that was so normal. And having these conversations, and they're like, you've wanted to kill yourself? I'm like, yeah, doesn't everybody? I mean, how many years that these conversations were not being had, right? So interesting. And then really looking back as a young girl, and this is in my experience, and I wonder for you, Nancy, my abilities and my worth was always on how pretty I was. Walking into a room being 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, as soon as you walk in as a cute little girl in a dress, as soon as the adults say, you're so cute, you're so pretty, then you get a check mark. I got a check mark. I got a check mark. And the years when I stopped walking into a room and going, you're so cute, I started to go negative, negative, negative. So everything was around that. And I wondered to other women, I bring this up, I'm like, did you have that, or was that just my family? It was you really walked in and you were looking for that.
I think it's not just your family. I think it's societal. I talk with lots of parents all the time, and teachers and educators. Let's praise for something other than the outside. I love your effort. I love how you creatively attack this problem. What a beautiful solution your brain came up with, right? We're so much more than our outsides. And mine is a little bit, sorry. Mine is a little bit different in that my childhood trauma, and I will give the disclaimer because it is hard to hear. So your audience receive it, you guys receive it. However you need to, so I'm not being insulted by any response, whether it's disgust or discomfort or curiosity. But I was sexually abused by my grandfather till I was 16 years old. And so I never wanted to be acknowledged for my appearance. I didn't never want to be noticed, but I never wanted to be acknowledged for my appearance. And my self-worth very much was because I was told about my appearance and because of my experience, I started to hate myself for being the pretty girl. I still, like, to this day, I still have to sometimes apologize to people. At least I don't have to. I find myself apologizing to people because they'll look at me eating ice cream and they'll say something like, "What, can you eat whatever you want?" And I'll say, I feel like I have to say, yeah, like I have to apologize, and then people are mad at me that I'm thin and can eat everything I want. There's no winning unless you change the mindset, both within ourselves and again in our communities. Talk about this. You said your friends didn't know. I didn't know that nobody else was being sexually abused. I gave myself a report card in my divorce and decided I was failing, even though I had plenty of women around me who had gone through divorce. They hadn't shown the realness of their journey, right? We tend to put out what looks good, how we want to be seen. And so I thought, wow, I'm struggling through this. I'm ugly and snotty and crying, and I'm not going to work today. I'm failing at divorce, right? Because I didn't see the real version of what happened.
Because so many people are hiding those places, I would say, right, Nancy? So some people are just so afraid to say what those things are because of the fear of what somebody else is going to think or say, that the reality is when you finally actually say it, like I can only think for me as a singer, I've been a singer for so many years. And before I really started singing, right, I had this, I call what's the shower voice and your safe voice. And I would sing, I could just do singing, whatever, no big deal, nothing special. But my shower voice that I would let nobody see, that I'd be belting outside the shower, nobody saw that one. And I'm scared to death for you to see the shower voice. It wasn't until I finally came to the stage and said, today's the day. I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to use my shower voice. And I did it. Holy cow. It was amazing. The total opposite of what I was expecting. People actually dug it, loved it, and it turned into something completely different from me because I took the steps to do it, right? So in that case, would you think that there's so many women out there and guys, I mean, there's a lot of guys suffering too. I know exactly some things that are going like that in men's lives as well, that if we just take a moment to express and share something with somebody, you don't have to build on a bulletin board and go tell the whole world necessarily. But you start with one or two people. Don't you think that can make a difference?
Absolutely. I think it makes a huge difference. You don't have to be doing it the way Joanna and I are. So publicly sharing our stories to people we know, but perfect strangers as well. You can start by talking to one person in your life. And I have found along the way, I've actually not had any negative feedback. I'll probably bite my tongue. What I've had are people who feel relieved because they thought they were the only one, or people who breathe a little easier. I've had women come to me and say, through my DM, I've never told anyone, and seeing you say it, I can't believe that, I've never told anyone. And I don't know, Joanna, you've got your own experiences. I know there's topics, I'm sure that you have put out there into the world, but that's my thing. Like, what taboo won't do. It's just not, we can't accept that we're just uncomfortable, so we're not going to do it. One of my biggest frustrations in the world of sexual abuse is that nothing's changed. I'm 48 years old. It came out that I was being abused when I was 16 years old. There's no difference. And the most heartbreaking part is we've had the cure all along. If we were talking to kids about their bodies and boundaries and to what Joanna was saying, like, not about your outside beauty, but your worth as an individual, that trust your gut. If something doesn't feel good, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it wouldn't feel good to someone else. You go and tell, you say no. And if as adults, we were willing to sit in the discomfort so that we can create a space where anyone who is in that situation can come to us and know there's not going to be judgment, there's not going to be any sort of like backlash or are you sure, then there's nowhere for a perpetrator to hide.
Yeah. That's so powerful. Obviously, this was not what we expected. So that's what I love about doing lives. And I'm telling you, my heart for this has been so full lately to share this information. I just feel that's definitely where God wants it to go. And I'm glad that y'all are here today. And Joanna, I mean, I want to bring Brian back on, obviously, and we're here to honor Brian for his show on Saturday. I think there's a perspective there to share as well. Brian, you've been listening to what's been happening here with what we've been talking about. I think he's still there.
You're muted.
I'm here. I'm sorry, I just was muted. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm so proud of you for sharing that. The things that you were talking about, I was sitting behind the scenes here nodding because I know Nancy's story, and I'm so proud of her. And for you to be voices on behalf of others that don't feel they have one, or maybe sitting back and going, this is normal, isn't it? And, in sharing those stories, helping others feel like they're not alone. And knowing that you're inspiring so many just by standing up and by, voicing your vibe, by sharing your story and sharing you and getting real and raw, and knowing that it's not about you, it's about sharing you so that others can understand they're not alone. Because when you're not alone, it really changes the dynamic of the thoughts in your head, of the conversations that take place, of the way you think of yourself, treat yourself. So, I thank you for doing that. And again, you are incredibly brave and courageous as well for stepping out from, like I said, behind the lens and sharing you. And I say that coming from someone who did the same, because you talk about growing.
Oh, I can't hear him.
I think it's great. And Matt, I love that you're doing this Naked series on Clubhouse, and it is such an important conversation to be had. And we all have imposter syndrome. I have it every day. And, it's something real. It's something people don't talk about a lot. And I think it's really important because, again, it levels the playing field, and it lets, I think, most people know out there.
Well, I think it could easily be something that people just kind of blow off as a hashtag, or, people talk about authenticity all the time on LinkedIn. We heard authenticity for so long, and, it's true, but at some point everybody gets so numb to it that it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sorry, that pisses me off. And this pisses me off in the sense of where people, like you said something a minute ago, Brian, that is so freaking true. Hashtag freaking. So freaking true is that it becomes normal. That people think that's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal to think that you're not as good or you're less than, right? It's none of that stuff is what it's supposed to be. You might have lost the screen there for a second. But what's important to know, maybe we'll get them back here in a minute. I don't know what happened there. Oh, I think I know what happened. Stinking Zoom. As we'll keep the conversation going, I think what's really important to remember is the fact that, we're not alone. We do have opportunities to share things with people. There are things that are so important to be able to let people know about, right? But unless some folks just have to have the guts to say it and do it and finally just let it out, right? And that's what you're doing. That's what I'm doing too. And I appreciate that about you for sure, Joanna, and the opportunities that we have. Oh, they're jumping back in. The opportunities that we have for people to be able to be a part of that. I'm bringing him back in here, stumbling across a couple of my words, but give me just a second. Here comes Nancy, and here comes Brian back to the show. Yeah, that whole wonderful Zoom thing, it ran out of time. I was like, what the heck? What the heck? So, what's going to happen? No, go ahead. I think the problem here is that, let me see if I can't do one more thing because we came in a different way. Joanna, what do you think about that? While I'm looking for this here real quick, what do you think about this scenario when people are, they wrestle with finally saying something or doing something about it?
Well, I really liked what Brian said because what I'm aware of now is that I was trying not to tell my stories because I thought it was going to be about me. And now I know it's about helping somebody else so that they can feel like the air is let out of the tires. And then I feel better. But I didn't want to do it because I thought it was going to be boastful and like, look at me and here's my story. And once that changed, what was the question you asked again? Like what?
When you get to that point, when it's so hard to be able to, you're going through that stuff and it's like normal, but it's not really normal. It's a situation where you have to have the guts to finally say something and do it.
That's an interesting one because for me, it was getting out of the cliche, Matt. Like you said, there's so many things and it's like, it's not working anymore. I've done Tony Robbins, I've done this, and it's like, it worked for so long. And then I hit a ceiling and there was no more possibilities. And until I looked for more possibilities and changed things up, then I was able to go, you know what? This is not working. I'm going to choose something different. And here's the thing, Matt, I didn't know that I had choice. Until I realized this, Joanna, you created this life. You can choose differently. Everything is a choice. But I thought everything was happening to me. And I was just on defense mode. And as soon as I started to choose and know that I had the power, Matt, I have the power, then things changed. But I was allowing everything else to have the power over me. And that's what it was for me.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. And I know you can still hear me, Brian and Nancy back there. I'm trying to get you back up on the screen here. It's horrible. We're going through some.
I see your face all big, man.
I know. I'm trying to do my best. But Brian's totally in with what you're saying. So is Nancy. I just got to get him back up on the stinking screen. All right. So I think that's what I really want to talk about while we're waiting for me to figure out how to get him back on the screen. Oh, I know what I need to do, guys. While we do this temporarily, we only got a few minutes left on the show. I'm going to back you out, jump back in because I got to bring you back in through the browser. That was a problem. We came back in through the wrong way. All right, so I know what I did wrong. It's all my fault. It's all me. All right, I'll fix that. Be right back. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much. Hey, while I'm doing that, so Elio, I wonder, do you happen to have that one video for tonight's show? The Let's Get Naked, because I can pull this whole thing up while it's happening.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Live television. There you go.
I know. It's great.
It even happens to... There's the video. It was a cute video, and then it said something about diarrhea, and it got my attention. It was funny.
Oh, it's the right video then. It's the right video.
Great marketing.
Thank you very much. It's the right video. Oh, did it end? I think we're getting everything back in the lineup here. Holy smokies.
And Matt, I like the cartoon of your beard behind you. That is so cute.
Well, you know, that came from... That's from my book, From God's Got This. And while I had stage 4 cancer, they're jumping back into the room. While I had stage 4 cancer, one of the things that I did was I stopped cutting my beard off. And I stopped cutting my beard off because one of the first things that happen when you're fighting cancer is you lose your hair, right? So when that started happening for me, I felt like the one thing I'm going to do is I am going to stop shaving. And I'm going to grow my freaking beard to the floor if I can. And whenever to the freaking #freaking floor, then when I say it's over because I feel like I'm at the point where cancer is no longer in, I'll make the choice when the hair cuts off. Sure. And I had my last brain surgery less than a year ago, and a few months ago I got my first real clean scan, and that's when I chopped everything off and went back to the old baby beard that I have on right now.
And that surgery, where'd they go in?
Yeah, I mean, I've had multiple surgeries. I had 2 brain surgeries, back of my head, which is by your vision section. I'm pulling y'all up, Brian and Nancy. Here we go. Wow. Here they come. So I had 2 brain surgeries. First one was I had a bleeding brain tumor, and I had about 24 to 48 hours to live. So they did that emergency surgery. And the second one was that I had. They didn't know if there was more cancer there or not, and I had so much scar tissue and cirrhosis, not cirrhosis, I forget what it's called, but scar tissue back there in my head, that it was going to be just as dangerous as the brain tumor. It would kill me. So they had to take that out again. And it's a brand new procedure they developed at Duke. They used a laser, and because they only could operate on your brain so much in certain areas at the same time. Otherwise, I'd be like, I would be nothing, or I'd be dead. So by the grace of God and by incredible surgeons at Duke, I am still here. But I've had 6 tumors. Let's see. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 surgeries, plus treatments, plus radiation treatments, plus trials. So I've been going through all that mess in my life for 10 years. And I was stage 4 from 2015 until recently, 2020. And right now it's just kind of, it's not remission. We don't call it remission with this type of cancer, but it's not doing anything right now. Hello, kitty cat over there at Nancy's house. And we're just really grateful to God that that I'm here. Well, most people are. Some people may not be, but I'm grateful to be here. I'm glad to be here. So I'm sorry, guys. We had a bunch of snafus. I realized what happened. Zoom cut us off because we had that, like, your past 40-minute thing, right? It's so crazy. But we've all been through our junk. And Brian talked about some stuff great a little bit ago. One thing I love about Brian, and Nancy, thank you so much for what you've been saying, because I just want to have you on my show tonight, too, to talk about that, because it's such a powerful thing. We'll talk about it later. Anytime you're welcome to the show for Let's Get Naked for sure. But tonight would be great. But Brian, you know, the one thing you've been able to do for 150 of these shows is you are an incredible encourager of other people. I mean, you're an encouraging heart. I mean, you're passionate about encouraging. And, you know, I like to do fun stuff and crazy stuff too. And you just do whatever it takes to make people smile, to feel good about themselves. And you give people an opportunity through your success for them to, as you would say, voice your vibe, voice their vibe, right? They get to share what's that. So even on Saturday on your celebration show, you're bringing all these people on so they can shout out something about them or about something they're passionate about, because that's what you're passionate about, is helping others to be successful and to share their hearts, right? So Brian, I think that's the amazing part about what you do, man. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother. And you are a gift and a blessing and a miracle and an amazing human being. And you don't get enough light shined on you for all that you do behind the scenes to help so many. People truly have no idea, Matt, what you do. And you give everything, literally everything, from your heart, from your pocket, from other people. Like, so I can, there's not enough time in the show for me to talk about how incredible you are, but we'll find another show for me to do that. I do want to go back to something real quick that Joanna said, which is really important. And, you know, Joanna said when she realized that it wasn't about her, it was about sharing that story and knowing that by sharing the story, it was inspiring or helping other people. That was a quintessential moment for me too, Joanna, because I hate talking about myself. And I was trying to figure out how is this, you know, I was sharing my story and I would go on a podcast and then somebody else would invite me to the show and say they wanted to hear the story. And I said, well, this is the ignorant me. Like, well, you can go listen to it on this person's show. I just told it, you know, the other day. And they're like, okay, look, it's like going to a movie, right? Go to a movie premiere. Not everybody's showing up at the same premiere at the same time or the same show or the same road show for a premiere or whatever. Different tribes, different vibes, whatever. I said, okay, that makes totally sense. You're talking my language. So, you know, you keep showing up and sharing your story. And Joanna, I say this to you. I say it to Nancy. I say it to everyone. Don't ever stop showing up and sharing your story wherever you can, because you never know who's paying attention. You never know who's listening. You never know what one person you're going to impact by sharing your voice and your story and your heart and that pain and that angst and that all of that, like that real and rawness, right? The authenticity, the real and rawness of you in that moment and how it's going to impact somebody. Matt knows it too. We've all talked about it because everyone has a voice and everyone has a story that matters, and a voice and story that can positively affect and impact another human being's life by showing up and sharing you, because we all want to relate to one another. We never know what someone else is going through or growing through and shifting through. So I just wanted to say that because I think it's really important. It's really easy for us to get in our own heads and kind of go, nobody's going to care about that, or why should I talk about that? And I will tell you, like, my coming out on LinkedIn Video for the very first time, which is my first video when we launched LinkedIn Video in 2017, was sharing that story. And at that time, it was about 5 million people. And I was scared to death to share it, not knowing what people were going to say and how they were going to react. And, you know, because no one in the world of business knew about it. No one really knew anything about that. And
you talk about the Tourette syndrome thing, the Tourette syndrome story you were sharing? Yeah.
Yes, about Tourette's and about growing up, being a pound and a half miracle baby that wasn't supposed to live, and getting bullied and dealing with adversity and all that stuff, and being weird and different, and not looking at that as a good thing. To Joanna's point, I just wanted to blend in. I didn't want to stand out. I wanted to blend in, and so it took a long time for me to come out of that and recognize that it was a gift, a superpower, and there's so many stories behind it we could talk about, but it's not time today. But the point is that I realized that by sharing my story, right, about my journey, was helping other people, not because they went through what I went through, but because they were going through their own stuff. And my sharing that inspired them, just like I was inspired by others to want to share my story as well. So bringing it back, my shows have nothing to do with me. They have everything to do with you. It has to do with everyone else showing up and sharing, giving them a platform, a place to find their voice and to voice their vibe and to show up and to be them. And, yes, we have fun and do wacky things. And, I want to bring that inner child out of people. I love creating a space where, Matt, man, I'm a bringer together of people. And I didn't have a love for people when I was growing up the way that I do today. I didn't get people. I didn't get why people treated people the way they did, because there was a lot of negativity and I didn't understand it. And that's why I got a degree in psychology, because I just wanted to better understand people. So I create this space to be able to let people be themselves, to feel like they're in a safe space, to feel comfortable being uncomfortable, to have fun, to do social distancing, which was spawned during this pandemic because I didn't like the word social distancing, physical distancing, togetherness. And so it's awesome, you guys, it's awesome. We have people that come on the show depressed, people that have come on the show in quarantine, people that have come on the show with COVID talking about how they're feeling, and they walk away saying, thank you, I feel so much better. I got to laugh, I got to smile, I got to dance, I got to feel better and not think about this crazy world that we've been living in for the last year, and just be in the moment and walk away better and uplifted and happier. And that is my gift, I guess you could say, is, I wanted to find a way. I was trying to figure out how I could stand up and help in a time where we're all falling apart. Because I have fallen apart many times in this pandemic. And I've shared that because we're all growing through that, right? And it's okay to not be okay. But I want to give people a place to understand it's okay to not be okay. A place to understand it's okay to be that kid that's inside of you that you forgot about. A place to laugh and have fun together and to feel like you're a part of something. And a place
where you can freaking rock. That's right. Brian, thanks so much, bro. And tell you what, just before we get ready to get out of here, because we've taken so much time for everybody today. It's been so freaking, I keep saying it now, you got me going, Joanna. It's been so good. Straight to you, girl. So Brian and Nancy, I want to talk to you a second, but Brian, real quick, one more plug about Saturday. Tell everybody one more time.
Yeah, please. It is Shout Out Saturday Live. It is episode 150. That's 150 weeks every week. And we're going to do something that's never been done before on LinkedIn. Again, I don't know if it's been done anywhere, but 150 guests in 4 hours. That is the allotted time you have to go live on LinkedIn. We've been going live on LinkedIn every Saturday for 4 hours for the past month or so. Super excited about it. So come and join us. Join us in the comments of the show. We're going to have amazing guests sharing lots of great stuff, lots of love. Come and share your shout outs for people that have made a positive impact in your life. Share your favorite cartoon, favorite cereal. We're going to have fun together. It's going to be something you don't want to miss. We're making history on LinkedIn. So please come and be
No doubt. That's right. So if you want to follow Brian, he's Brian Schulman on LinkedIn. So he's pretty easy to find. You saw his name here earlier. And when he goes live on LinkedIn, there'll be a notification where you can jump on there and join him live. Thank you so much, Brian. Nancy, how do folks get a hold of you, Nance?
Well, LinkedIn is pretty safe, and I have a bunch of letters after my name. I don't know if there are more than one Nancy Barrows, but I've got a bunch of letters after my name, so that's me. And, I'm out on social media. I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram, and actually just got my own YouTube channel, so you can check out there. It's been amazing. Like, I am so thankful to people like Brian and you, Joanna, who have sort of paved the way in terms of, first of all, making it all seem possible, making it all amplify for those of us who are coming up after you. But yeah, so those are probably the two best places for now. But on LinkedIn, go ahead and connect with me. I would love it. Just send a little note that this is where you saw me so that I know. And yeah, really, I mean, Joanna and you too, Matt, I want to know where to find the podcast. I want to hear more about the clubhouse.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Nancy, if you can hang out in the Zoom room till right after the show and to come back, have you got a minute to hang out there so I can talk to you afterwards?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Great. Don't go anywhere yet. Brian, hang out.
Yeah, be sure, by the way, there is an event on my channel on LinkedIn. Go and hit the remind me button. You'll get a notification when it starts and start blowing up.
Yeah, no doubt. Fantastic. There you go. Elio's a drummer. Can you tell? Elio loves those drums. He's amazing. And back to our Joanna, it's been a blast to have you here, and I'm glad you got to meet Brian and Nancy today as well too. Joanna, I just want to celebrate you and thank you for being a guest here today and having some fun as we going back and forth. And we got to talk about some things we didn't expect to talk about, right? What a blessing that is. It was fantastic. I think that so many of your followers that follow you now will get so much out of what you shared earlier. I'm sure they know that side of your heart already. So it's just fantastic to have that opportunity there. So we are going to have available in all of the in the comment section, there'll be a place where you can find Joanna. All of her links will be there. And my wonderful friend Elio in the background is going to be sure to make sure that happens for everybody. And so Joanna, you're primarily, your playground is probably more
Instagram. Yeah. Joanna Vargas official. Please send me a DM. Love to hear from you.
She's official. She's official on Instagram. Yeah. I had to find her on LinkedIn, but I did. I found you.
Official everywhere. Yeah.
She's official. She's official. We're going to make it a little more official now, too. So thank you so much. So before everybody goes, I want to do one quick opportunity. There's a chance for us to find a place to download. Elio, if you can pull that up. And then we'll also show you there it is right there. So you can download Matt Chat Live. Now, if you're looking for the audio version, you can go to any podcast platform. Just look for Matt Crump and A Hope Revealed. And all of the stuff that's in the Hope Revealed network is available. That's all of our shows, which is stuff like Matt Chat Live, Hope Revealed, Flight School with me and my great friend Bill Dolan. Then on Clubhouse, we have Let's Get Naked. And we also have Cancer FU, Cancer Fighters United. Yeah, so you were thinking something else. And yeah, it's supposed to go both ways too. All right. So, and then we've got God's Got This Stories. And of course, I've been through a lot of battles in my life with drugs and alcohol, cancer, faced up through war when I was in the military. And I've got lots of stories to share. But I share the stories of other people that have been through some traumatic moments in their lives and what they were doing for their faith and their hope during those moments. And unfortunately, there's many people that are God's Got This Stories that are no longer with us. But what they do have is they've left a voice for legacy on that show. And if you want to hear what legacy sounds like and what some people were trying to say when they knew they were getting ready to exit this planet, check out my YouTube channel, and you can go to the God's Got the Stories for that. And I've got more of those shows coming here soon. So thank you for that too. And Elio, I want to say shout out to Elio. Elio is amazing. I don't know if he's got a chance to come on screen or not yet because everybody else is here. But Elio, you have been, there he is. There's Elio. He has been, he's got a soul patch. He has been running like crazy. He yanked out all of his hair during the show. He's like, oh my Lord, man, what are you doing to me? So we're learning. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Joanna, so much for being here today at Matt Chat Live. Love you all so much. And again, don't forget, y'all, Brian's show on Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern time. Let's go to LinkedIn. Easy, super easy to find. Brian Schulman, there's an event page to remind yourself. And tonight, coming up in 1 hour, I'll be on for the next 3 hours or so, or probably, on Clubhouse for Let's Get Naked, where we're going to take it all off. We're going to lay all those things aside, and we're going to shed all those problems, all those pains, and we're going to expose some things in life that you might have been afraid to expose. And guess what? Everybody else in the room has been through the same stuff. And you got friends, right, Joanna?
Yep. We're here.
That's good, girl. Good girl. Joanna, there's one thing you tell everybody today before we leave out of the show. What's that one thing you'd like to share with folks today?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, that you always have choice. Don't buy the lie that you don't have a choice. Make a choice, take action, And if you want something different, choose something different.
So good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming to another episode of Matt Chat Live. We'll be back again, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. We'll be right back here. Same Matt time, same Matt channel for Matt Chat Live. God bless y'all. Thanks so much for being here today.
Bye.